Now tell me, and you are?
I'm Ann Beal.
Ann Beal.
Yes, I went to Dallas Theological Seminary. My husband was a professor.
Oh,
there.
okay.
And, we have wellness clinics, so our shows are Getting Better and Living Well, and then my husband has Men Loving Well.
Ooh.
But we're on USA Network and USA Radio, iHeart, Voice America.
Amen.
It's wellness, health and wellness, but really empowering people as well.
Sure.
And then wellness in all areas of your life, getting better.
Absolutely.
Financially,
Oh, this is going to be fun.
And so I try to sneak these in, right?
Yeah.
And without getting them deleted, if I can. All right. I'm really, lately it's been a little tough, so anyway, I'm very excited.
I'm
okay.
glad.
Ready?
It's not close enough to see.
Okay, thank you. Because you don't want me to start, right? I'll be here.
Is the video on right there? You can see it, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right.
Amen.
Is she going to touch you up? You good?
You touching me up again?
I'm just going to pull.
Oh, because I'm sitting
I
on.
need people. My people aren't coming over here to me. He's over there.
Lean up for me.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yeah. That's better? Good. Amen. All right. Excited.
What we doing? Apostle. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you.
This is
Okay,
exciting.
let's get started. Welcome to the Getting Better Show. I am Ann Beal, and we are here at NRB, National Religious Broadcasters Convention here in Grapevine, Texas. And we are so excited to get Paula to sit down with us, Dr. Price, Paula Price. And she has so much information for us. I first saw you on Fox, I think, when they were interviewing you about the Tulsa Massacre.
5. Was it Newsmax?
Was it News?
I think it was Newsmax. Yes.
How could I? Oh, I should not confuse those.
Yes.
Newsmax.
Newsmax.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it was so good. But you know what was? My husband's from Oklahoma, and his brother lives in Tulsa, and none of them had heard of the Tulsa Massacre.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't take Oklahoma history because I'm from Little Rock, but I did not understand why they wouldn't know if it was such a big deal. And you had so much to say about that very passionately.
Yes.
And why, because Biden brought this up, okay, and I don't know why it was such a long time ago. So I was surprised by that. But you were very much like, this is what they do. I mean, can you first tell me a little bit more about you?
Well, I am Dr. Paula Price. I have a ministry in Oklahoma. I am most known for the Prophet's Dictionary, which is a bestseller. It's in 3 languages. And I'm an author of more than 50 books and manuals. I'm founder of Price University,
Price
which is
University.
also yep,
That is you.
That is me.
Awesome.
And also, to what you're doing, I have a success center because I do training and development in the soul of success, taking your life from distress to success. And that's just a little bit of it.
That is a very good way to put things,
Yeah.
from distress to success. That's
Yeah.
what we do at our clinics, right?
I know.
That is awesome. Well, okay. So
Which means I have a book called 3D.
what
It's
is
a
that?
3D training manual that we use to help people get their life from distress to success.
So you have a manual.
I have a
We need
manual.
to get that manual for sure. You
Yeah.
guys need to get that manual. So how would people reach you?
drpaulaaprice.com. You click there and you can get a whole bunch of stuff about me.
All one word, Dr.
paulaaprice.com.
That's good. Okay. So what do you think about my fact that my husband and his family, who are from Tulsa and Oklahoma, they took Oklahoma history and they didn't even know about it.
No, they wouldn't. And I'll tell you something, a couple of reasons for that. My first thought, though, is that they didn't know about it because when a nation or a region does something that heinous, they don't want to remember it.
Oh, wow.
You think about the Holocaust people. You know, they don't want to remember it. There are a lot of Germans who just like, please, distance us from that. So I think that might be the first point. Of course, the second point has to do with the fact that we don't want to acknowledge it because what will that put us on the hook for?
Yes. Well, and I was wondering about, when I was reading about it, it gets confusing because, you know, in Little Rock, I was in the movie Central High Crisis. And it wasn't until then that I learned that all those protesters were bussed in.
Yeah.
They weren't from Little Rock.
Exactly.
And I thought, oh my gosh, they were doing that in the 50s?
Yes.
I had no idea. And so I was wondering about that massacre, if they were really people from there.
Well, I think that there were a lot of people from there.
Okay.
But I also don't set aside the possibility that they will bust in. Let's look at our recent Antifa Black Lives Matter. And, if you hit the internet, do you know, Ann, that you can apply for a job as a protester?
Oh, yes. I've had clients. I had one client, he was making about $50,000 a year, and I won't tell you who he works for, but you can just go online and he can even refer people and that's how he was making all his money, was referring people. And he made a very good living as a protester and getting bussed in different places.
Exactly.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. And I know at one point I had one client tell me they were getting paid $35 an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's gone up since then. But, people, and it was hurting times, so... It was crazy.
But think about hurting times, and we're going to pay you to hurt some more.
Right. Yeah.
To increase the hurt.
But they justify it because people should be angry that they don't have a job, right? And things like that.
Yeah. And then again, I'm one of those people that I like to go to the root before I comment on the fruit. Why don't you have a job? Because not everybody unemployed wants to work.
Yeah. And I was an engineer when I got out of college, working for EDS as a programmer. And I know now, today, those jobs would be very hard because of the HB1 workers that can come in. They bring them all in, these tech companies. So it's been hard. But then there are so many jobs out there, right? And it is a good question. But I think that people can be manipulated, of course, and be used.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was wondering about that then. But for you... You are from Tulsa.
No,
yes?
I'm not.
Oh, you live in Tulsa.
I live in Tulsa.
Where are you from?
I'm actually from New Jersey. And I was in the 68 riots that were around the country. Remember, we had Detroit, California, New York, New Jersey, out in the South.
Right.
See, that's my generation.
Really? That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So,
But I've been in Tulsa since 1999.
Okay. Oh, that's when I started my show, 99,
yes.
Living Well with Ann Beal. That's cool. So in 99, you have done a lot in Tulsa. Did it make you mad when the Tulsa Massacre came up? Or did you think people need to know about this? How did you feel about it?
Well, I don't know if I was as aware of how many people didn't know. But a massacre of any people is an aberrance.
We should all know.
It is horrible.
Right.
And it shouldn't be swept away. It really should not be, because the soul of a particular region of a city and a state, and as a result the nation, was destroyed. And they obliterated their faith. They decimated their hope. And then they violated their rights and their will to, and their right to free enterprise.
Why did they do that?
Well, it's interesting. I was thinking about that, and if I go on record, I'm going to go on record to say it was envy. And it was because it was that rooted racism of the time. Racism is rooted in America's formative years.
Right.
And it's in our formation. And so to go by, especially if you're a farmer and you're an agriculturalist, and so you're trying to, get pennies on the dollar, and then these post-slaves, these newly free supposedly slaves or Jim Crow citizens are doing well, when in fact they shouldn't be doing well because of all the program you had about their skin color affecting their enterprise, affecting their intelligence, and affecting their ability. So all of that is boiling inside of you. And so we want to take your business, and if we can't take it, then we're going to destroy it.
Well, it's interesting because we went to Roswell on the way back from my dad's. We came through Roswell to see the UFO museum. And if there really were aliens, they...
Oh, yeah.
But they took their ship. They took everything. Well, what's interesting about that is that whole story is it's pretty horrible. Then we went down to Sumter, Fort Sumner, which is where they took the Indians down there, and the Navajos and the Apaches. They took them from their land, walked them hundreds and hundreds of miles, where a lot of them died, to Fort Sumner, to this reservation. And of course, they didn't live. A lot of them, so they decided it was a failure.
Sure.
I mean, we read all about that. I thought, you know what? Man can just do horrible things. They can just do horrible things. They wanted the land, so they just took it.
Exactly.
Right? And I think that when you want people's stuff and just take it.
Yeah.
And so who has stuff? I mean, a bum on the street that has a backpack has more than a bum on the street that doesn't have a backpack.
So the bum with the backpack is in trouble.
Yeah, so you can
because
just
this
take
other
it.
person is just going to take it.
Yeah, so it's very relative when you start doing that.
But that's just common things. I mean, if you think about, if we think about Scripture, Ahab and Jezebel, we're taking it. You know, I was reading an article about maybe several years back where they were talking about how African women would set up ministries and the men would just take it and put them out, or they'd set up businesses and they'd do it. So we can't make it race. We are making it race because it's convenient.
Right.
But
It's
that's human
political
nature.
convenience, right? It is horrible. It is horrible. And for me, I know that, you know, when I was in France, one of the things I noticed, I had been to France many times, but in 2000, right after 9/11, when I went to France, everybody was so friendly. They were just glad we were there. But there were Muslim women everywhere on the street. They had just been put out.
Yeah.
And I was giving money away a lot. My husband stopped giving money away. I'm like, oh my gosh, these women
they
are
have no
on the
life.
street barefoot, like they didn't have anything. And so, yeah, the truth is, you know, well, let's not talk about the truth, right? Let's just manipulate the population.
Well, and remember Afghanistan?
Yeah.
All of those highly educated, highly trained, and successful women, and they were all put back into decades and decades of oppression, took their businesses, took their homes. See, this is not a race thing. This is a human issue, a human problem, wanting what isn't yours and taking it because the strong survive.
Yes. Like
And it's okay if the weak die.
it's interesting because in Hollywood they were saying that, you know, the golden rule is he who has gold rules, right?
But isn't it the same thing here?
Yeah.
And these are all laws and all policies and as well as customs that actually underpin earthly existence. That's the whole purpose of the church. That was the whole purpose of the cross, that God could dislodge that and then inseminate the world with a population who would fix it for him.
Yes, because it's very much like Jesus. I mean, he was persecuted. And the establishment, right? The establishment with the Romans and the Pharisees, Sadducees. I mean, they killed him.
Yes,
they
did.
Persecuted and killed him and lied and fake news. They did everything, right?
Everything that's today.
I know. And
It could be today's headlines.
I think so. Yes, exactly. It's pretty amazing how now when you read through Psalms, how much they apply.
Yes.
Right? And you read through the New Testament, the movie that Tim Mahoney is launching. What is it? The Times of Fire, about the 7 churches and the persecution and the things like that, so we can understand our faith better and understand how we're supposed to be living for the church.
Absolutely.
And wow.
But what we don't understand, this is my one of my major hot button, is that God begot us again into the image and likeness of his Son to fix earth's problems, not to benefit from them, not to siphon them off. It's kind of, I always tell my students, I said, but God expects us to go into the family business and to save the business.
Right. Save the business.
Yes.
That is wonderful. Wow. I am so excited that you're here, and you've probably had a wonderful day here.
I did. I've been busy. I've met amazing people and had a chance to share a lot of thoughts, and I'm thankful.
Have you met Dr. Hormuz Shariat from Iran?
Not yet.
Well, he has a book called The Iran Awakening, the Great Iran Awakening. Anyway, he has been, leading Muslims to Christ for a long time. He was a Muslim, but he shared that Iran is no longer a Muslim nation.
Yeah, well,
and who knew that?
Well, the only reason I found it out is because who was it? The daughter that said that was trying to say that the election was rigged. What is it? Her name? The guy who was killed. I can't even think of her name. Forgive me, you all, but some of you all can hit it on Google so we don't look like we forgot it all. But when she started fighting for Trump, and I thought, wait a minute, that's new.
Yeah.
And we started looking into that. So yes, that's not. I think it's a shock to hear it stated that succinctly.
I was. He said they did all this research, and that out of 50,000 people, a third were. He said 32% were actually believed as Muslims. The other 30% weren't sure. They were more atheist, agnostic. They just didn't know. And then the other third were Christians.
Wow.
And so it's a third. But you would never know that from the media, right?
No.
And so it's so fascinating that when you really open your eyes to everything that's really going on, and don't let the media lead you and mislead you, right?
Well, when we realize that the media doesn't care about the United States of America, B, doesn't consider themselves Americans,
Right.
and C, have abdicated their founding purpose and principles, yeah, you really can't take what they say at face value any longer.
Well, and when you make money off of it, right?
Yeah.
Like, so for-profit media, right?
Yeah.
Like, so, if you think of for-profit hospitals now, how they've changed.
Yeah.
For-profit doctors,
For-profit
for-profit
prisoners,
everything.
prisons
For-profit.
even.
Yes,
Okay.
prisoners. Yeah, so if they're just going for profit, then why are they going to really just share the news, or are they going to share news that profits them?
Well, care is secondary, at best, secondary. I probably would think care is third or fourth, but, again, and then knowing why people are doing what they're doing. Why are these institutions pushing against us as a nation? What is it that they want to come out of all of this abuse, all of this bullying, and all of these atrocities? We, as American people, have realized that yesterday is no more. The new normal is not just their new normal. We have a new normal to shape as well.
Right.
And we need to start shaping it.
Go, girl. Thank you so much for being here and just taking time out of your busy, crazy convention times.
Oh, I'm loving it, though.
Thank you. And you have to come back to the Getting Better show.
I will do it. Just
And
contact me.
I will.
We will get it done.
I'll come see my brother and I'll interview you up there.
There you go.
There you go.
And then I'll
Tulsa.
have you on now my show is nowhere near as big as yours, but I
Oh.
do have a show where I have people who are dedicated to soul health and healing. I'd love for my audience to hear from them.
What is your show?
It's every Thursday. I have two shows, actually. One is a talk show, Taking It On with Paula Price. And the second one, every Thursday, I do, believe it or not, the Jesus and Paula show, starring
Jesus and
Jesus
Paula
Christ
show.
and Paula Price.
Wow. That's a really cool name. Well,
Yes.
thank you. I look forward to that. And you guys, check that out.
Yes,
all right?
thank
And
you.
Just,
I've loved it.
Thank you. And just remember, everyone, Dr. Paula A. Price.com, right?
Yes, right.
And tell her shows again.
The television, Jesus and Paula show, which is every week on Facebook, and I'm on Golden Eagle Broadcasting, the Paula Price show, Taking It On with Paula Price.
Taking It On with Paula Price. And just remember, guys, keep getting better.
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I enjoyed it. It was such a pleasure. And we fit it right in there, too.
Yes, thank you.